are convinced that a sustainable future is only possible when young women are given meaningful and equitable access to opportunities in science and research.
Your participation would definitely pave the way for future generations to have food security.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
We at the Toastmaster, we are so happy to be joining hands with the organizer of the World Food Forum.
I think if you really want to make this a more powerful pitch, a PowerPoint presentation that's very basic with very little information could clarify things that maybe with accents were hard to understand.
And also, very, very important, you close your presentation with a call to action, which is perfect.
We need to have the best possible science, no matter the age, no matter the gender, no matter where you live and where you are. Ideas are always great.
I'm a bit biased, because I come from the classic, bachelor, master's, and internship, and then got UN, and but I do believe we need to find a way to integrate all of those individuals in the agri-food systems that are not in that cycle.
At the World Food Forum, we believe that innovations can come from anywhere and can come from anyone. From a university student applying to the Transformative Research Challenge, or to a farmer who wants to find a way to mitigate and end animal diseases in his sheep or goat herd.
Welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for wherever you're tuning in. Welcome to the 2022 World Food Forum Transformative Research Challenge Innovation Awards. My name is Carolina Pulido Ariza, and for the second year in a row, it is an honor to be your host for this very special event.
And I'm Charlene Mwangi. I'll join Carolina in talking you through this exciting WFF Innovation Labs event. We are tuning in from the headquarters of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN in beautiful Rome. Today's event is a hybrid event where we have some TRC participants and judges in person and others joining us online.
That's right, Charlene. We wish all of you could have joined us here in person, but who knows, maybe 2023 will be the year. Over this past year, we've been working behind the scenes in preparation for this day. And to see this finally come to life is incredible. And it is really inspiring to witness the outstanding efforts of the teams and their innovative ideas. For those of you who don't know, the Transformative Research Challenge was launched by the World Food Forum in May 2021 as an international open call for young and youthful researchers who want to propose their innovative ideas for agri-food systems transformation. We received over 160 applications this year from all around the world. That is double what we received last year. And these are in the categories of better production, better nutrition, better environment, and a better life.
And let's not forget the special prize we will be giving today for the category of Healthy Diets and Healthy Planet, which is the 2022 World Food Forum theme. We could not have arrived at this moment without the support from our expert reviewers who narrowed down the field of contestants to 20. Mentors were then paired with these 20 teams to help them produce, refine, and sharpen their research outputs. Finally, the research outputs were reviewed once again by expert reviewers, bringing us down to the final 10 teams who have translated these outputs into the pitches you will watch today.
What a journey. To the mentors and expert reviewers who have volunteered your time, words cannot express our appreciation for your efforts and commitment. Thank you. I am sure you're already online watching your teams today, eager to know who will win the 2022 TRC.
Yes, a big thanks to our mentors. So before we start the competition, I have a few quick housekeeping comments. Just as a reminder to our panelists, please make sure your microphones are muted at all times, unless, of course, you're presenting. For all those watching, we have our TRC colleague Haneen in the chat, who is available to answer your questions. Let's now explain what you can expect over the next 2 hours.
That's a great idea, Charlene. So first, we will introduce our exceptional panel of judges, after which we will dive into the pitches of our finalists. Each team will take turns giving a 2-minute pitch, followed by a 3-minute Q&A session with our jury. We will have a brief 10-minute break midway, where we will announce the winner of the TRC PPR Special Prize.
For those of you who don't know what the PPR Special Prize is, it's the newest TRC award, and it was created to support exceptional young scientists who are doing research to fight animal diseases, in particular, peste des petits ruminants.
Yeah, we're especially proud of this award, as it is one of our biggest achievements of the year was to partner with FAO's animal health team to find the brightest researchers from all around the globe who are fighting PPR. After the pitch is complete, we will give the jury 10 minutes to deliberate and to choose the winning teams for this session. During the deliberations, we will announce a very special partnership that will completely change the innovation labs for the better, making it even more inclusive. But I think you'll learn more about this at the end of this show.
So I love the suspense. That sounds so exciting, Carolina. Why don't we get started by introducing the fantastic panel of judges who are here with us on stage?
Exactly. We have gathered an exceptional panel of experts from across the 4 bettors who are sitting here today. As you will see, we have 5 of them, actually 4, and our advisor here in person, and 1 that is joining us remotely. First, as the TRC jury chair, we have Dr. Maximo Torero, FAO's chief economist, and also the chair of the FAO Youth Committee. Dr. Torero, could you please share your vision of what you expect to see this year?
So, we're living very complex times today. We're living very complex times today. So for us, any innovation that will help to accelerate the agri-food system will be welcome, and that's what we expect. We expect to see changes and innovation coming from the youth that will help us to create the transformation that we are looking. So we are more than happy to be here and bringing your ideas up and trying to see how we can push them. As you know, we are accelerating our Hand in Hand initiative, which is looking at 54 countries now. And there is a lot of challenges that come when we look at the countries and what they are doing and what they are trying to do. And that's where all these innovations can play a significant role. So more than happy to be here to help.
Thank you very much, Dr. Torre. I'm going to leave the microphone there.
Yes, and next on stage we have
Ismahan Elouafi, our chief scientist from FAO.
Thank you very much, Charlene. I'm Ismahan Elouafi, the chief scientist of the FAO, and I fully agree with Maximo. What we need is innovation to get out of the woods. So right now the challenges are huge, and we all need really to speed up our international development and solutions. So I'm a big believer that science, technology, and innovation hold part of the solution. So we need to amplify it, we need to accelerate it, we need to scale it out and scale it up, particularly in the global south. So I hope really that I'm excited with the diversity of the presentation that we have today. And I'm very glad to be part of this wonderful team of panelists. Thank you.
Exactly, Dr. El-Wafi. We're truly honored to have both of you here on stage for the second year in a row, as it is truly your vision who has brought us all the way here. I am not going to give the floor to Professor Morris. If you can please introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Parfait.
Professor Parfait, sorry.
Yeah, I'm Parfait Lunou. I'm a professor of global development at Cornell University, and I'm excited to be part of this panel because what this panel does and what the vision that has been just expressed by FAO is a vision that we have at Cornell University, which is a vision of science for public purpose, which is a vision of transformation as opposed to gradual evolution. The times are pressing. We need change and rapid change as opposed to baby steps. We need a system approach to transformation. The problems of food and hunger are not just about production, but they extend through the entire system. And so this is a vision I share, but most of all, I share a passion for the transformative power of youth, and I couldn't be more excited to be here.
Thank you very much, Professor Parfait.
Dr. Nafin?
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be with you this year as an advisor to the jury. Last year, I was the TRC winner, along with my colleague, Dr. Arif Anwar. I'm coming from the International Water Management Institute, and I think we share the same vision around water and food security. We work closely with people on the ground to improve food security within the water limits. And what is so exciting to me this time to see double the number of participants this year. I'm sure the competition was difficult and selecting the finals was difficult. And I wish them all the best, and we are here to support them for sure.
Thank you, Nafan. And now, all the way to the Better Nutrition Judge, Dr. Morris, right?
Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Saul Morris.
Good.
I work for the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how the contestants have brought in an understanding of how food nourishes our bodies and our minds and our communities as well, of course. And also think it's I'm really hoping to see some evidence of how they empathize with the people that we're ultimately hoping to serve through this work, which is people who are vulnerable to malnutrition all around the world.
Exactly. I know that that is one of our utmost priorities here at the World Food Forum, and FAO, WFP, and IFAD, their own-based organizations that have been supporting this challenge as well. Professor Xiuli will also join us online, but I will not introduce her at this very moment. We will hear her score later today. And I think it's time to move on with the rest of the show, right, Charlene?
Yes. Thank you all of our judges for being here, and we're so honored to have you on board to help us select the 2022 TRC winner. Now, if Carolina, you tell us about the rest of the program.
Yes, exactly. So after this introduction, we will start with the better production category. So this research theme is looking to identify pathways to ensure that sustainable food consumption and production patterns through the whole efficient supply chains are there at a global, local, and regional level, in turn ensuring that we have resilient and sustainable agri-food systems in a changing climate and environment that we are living. Team number one, as you can see on the screen, and all of the team members as well as their mentor has worked on a project entitled Best Practices for Technical Adoption Among Smallholder Farmers, a case study in Kenya for application in the United States. Let's now watch the pitch of team number one.
In order to better our production, we have to look at the economies doing it best. That is why we decided to focus on Kenya for its growing smallholder-focused food value chain. Agriculture is a predominant industry in Kenya, and for that reason has been given the monarch of Silicon Savannah, for its enthusiasm in encouraging and spurring a digital agriculture innovation. For this reason, we decided to interview 21 different actors in this food value chain with 3 main focuses. The first is operations and value add. The second is their best practices for smallholder farm engagement. And the third is to understand how stakeholders impact their operations. Our takeaways were as follows. SMS was often a key driver of value where economic barriers or connectivity barriers existed. The second was that in-person trainings and meeting with local groups was oftentimes the stickiest way and best way to show the value that these technologies provided. And the third was that hands-off regulation oftentimes spurred this kind of grassroots technology, although when it comes to collaboration, it made certain standardizations harder. The reason we focus on adoption is we can see here that in places like the US, adoption and implementation is what is lagging, and it is technological adoption that will allow us to achieve better production. So, how can we do that? We know small farmers face a lack of data and a lack of digital awareness, and their constraints of rule settings make that even harder. Well, a solution from the research we did that wants to achieve better production needs to use SMS to drive that value. It needs to work with something they're familiar with, and it needs to operate within the first mile to avoid unnecessary regulations. For that reason, we've decided to go ahead and implement our ideal solution. As you can see here, there's information that may need to be tracked for a number of reasons, and you can convert that to a text. This text can be sent and then seen, recorded, and used online. The value of something like this can improve production tenfold through data collection and keeping things in track, customizable systems that don't add any extra work for the group, for the farmer or the group, and lastly, to provide insights that can be used to aid decision-making in the future and produce at a much, much higher level. Thank you.
Thank you very much, team number 1, for that incredible pitch. I am asking the team here. We have Professor Xiu Li. She was joining us online from China. Do we have her online for her questions?
Hi.
Hey, team number 1. Congratulations for your pitch. Let me see if we can connect you with the judge of better production category.
Fantastic.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yes, hello everyone. Actually, I'm always on here, but just happened I cannot see all of you. So sorry for a little bit late. I think the first group, you did a very good job. You got a very holistic perspective to see all the challenges. My question is, it seems to me that the text to Excel tool seems your center of your innovation. So could you elaborate that more? And what are the specific targets and how to, what's the theory of change for this kind of innovation? So that's the question. Second, if you do it, did you evaluate, what kind of most challenge for your innovation? Do you have any assumptions for that? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So to answer your questions in order, the theory of change that we really hope to achieve is the digitization of the first mile principles that can spread to other operations of the supply chain. So if you imagine expanding to farm to table commerce, allowing more supply chain, a lot more market visibility, doing this in a way that allows us to start with digitizing operations and record keeping from the beginning allows us to have that stable database to expand upon and provide more data and market linkage along the way. We noticed in our research a lack of this top down. So the introduction of it starting from the very bottom, from where the farmers and growers are operating, will allow that to spread throughout the entire ecosystem and catalyze more change like we talked about. The main resistance that we anticipate is adapting this technology in local contexts. So understanding how to best reach and tailor it towards whoever it's for. But that's why we have an emphasis on the customizable approach to do that and make it as adaptable as possible.
Thank you very much for your answer. Do we have time for maybe one question for the judge? Yeah, Maximo?
Thank you. So I have a question. What information are you going to provide to the farmers? Because the quality of the information they receive and local aspects of the information is essential. So it's not clear to me how you're going to crowdsource that information to provide. And that's what will help a certain percentage of adoption, but not necessarily assure you adoption. because the cost factors are also linked to that and many other elements. So if you can elaborate on that.
Yes, so thank you for bringing that up. When it comes to what we'll provide in terms of the data that we're collecting, that goes on a case-by-case basis in terms of what the application is. So understanding what information we're collecting and then understanding on that specific case what can be provided. The value that we see here is that the information that's being collected in some of the use cases we've seen are often due to regulations, are often due to certain inventory management. And these have natural applications that can be used. And what we're doing is we're making the system and the process more efficient in a more accessible way than before. So we're hoping that this integrates into their current operations and workflows already.
Thank you very much. I know we're running tight on time, so I'm going to move on to the second team, but thank you for your answers. Thank you, Professor Zulli, for connecting, and Maximo for your insightful question as well. For team number 2, that I hope you will be seeing shortly on your screen, we have in the same category, which is better production, a project that is entitled Putting Disease Detection into the Hands of the Poultry Farmers. As you can see here on the screen, these are all of the team members and their fantastic mentor, Sharei Munene. So now let's watch the pitch of team number 2.
My name is Erin Galeforitia, and I represent Poultry Farmers Management Systems. We are putting early disease detection into the hands of poultry farmers. It is no news that poultry diseases affect the livelihood of smallholder farmers. This is not just happening to us here in Cameroon, but everywhere in the world. COVID-19 started in wet market in China, and it has gradually spread everywhere. We must look for sustainable solutions for better production. Our research topic is avian influenza, commonly called bird flu in chickens. Yes, technologies have been developed, PCR diagnostics, artificial intelligence, and more. But the fact that these technologies are only affordable and available for commercial farms is a hindrance to smallholder farmers. Smallholder farmers lack the resources to hire a farm veterinarian. They lack the resources to get a PCR diagnosis in the laboratory. So what then happened to the untapped 60% of the production population, which are mainly youth and women? They are faced with critical mortalities, and this devastates their economies. But there is a good news. The good news is that we have developed a platform called Save the Chicken application, where these farmers can identify diseases by themselves on their smartphone, and they will know what to do next. It is good to let you guys know that we have over 35,000 users and growing on the platform. Over 900,000 diagnoses have been performed in plus 1,000 locations. And we have vets on the platform responding to farmers' critical concerns and veterinary pharmacies where these farmers buy vaccines and medications from. The fact that smallholder farmers has just one resource, which is the mobile phone. This is the reason why we are focusing on the mobile phone to provide this point in care for these farmers, so that these farmers can use their cell phone by themselves in their farm and perform diagnostics in real time. The outcome will be better production for them, their livelihood will be improved, and our planet will be healthy. We are looking for research partners and collaborators in this regard. Thank you very much, and get in touch so that we can make our planet better.
Thank you very much, Team 2. I love the conclusion. Now it's over to Professor Zulli for her questions.
Okay, thank you. I think that second presentation is very clear targeted. My question is, you designed 3 stages for your methodology, but you didn't mention how many people or how many the targets for each step. It seems that it's quite broadly for your diagnosis, for your evaluation, and how does this platform to facilitate the sharing the knowledge from research and field works? Basically it's a how questions.
Thank you very much for your question. The fact that all the data collected from the various farmers, all the diagnostics being performed were confirmed in our laboratories at the Department of Veterinary Medicine in our local university. And we are sharing these information with them. And they are also linked to the Ministry of Livestock and they are passing over the data too. One thing for sure is that, you know, when diagnostics are made in rural areas, it is difficult for the entire nation or the ministry to be aware of. So we are passing over this information to our local university, and our local university is able to transmit the information or the data collected to our Ministry of Livestock.
Thank you very much, team number 2. Do we have a question here, Dr. Ismahan?
Yes, I have a question for Henry. Thank you very much. I'm glad to see you doing that with the farmer directly. I'd say definitely, you know, this methodology of using picture and using a central diagnostic, it's used a lot in food safety in countries like New Zealand, in Australia, Canada, and many more. So the question to you is really, how are you making sure you have all the technical capacity, and what's your turnover in terms of responding back? So times, how you are planning your timeline to respond to the farmers, and then how are you making sure that you have enough capacity really within the team to have your diagnostics right?
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. That's a good question. What happened is, you know, we use artificial intelligence and machine learning. So what happens is, when a farmer or similar diagnostics have been made, it compares and gives an automatic response. But when it's a critical concern, our vets of the platform has to respond to it. So technically, it's within 15 to 30 minutes to respond to farmers' concern.
So maybe I would just invite you to look at Plant Health, Plant-Wise by Kabi, who is doing similar things in the plant diseases. You might want to collaborate with them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Plant-Wise, right?
All right, thank you very much. Those were great pitches. We will now move to the second category, that is better nutrition, which focuses on ending hunger, achieving food security, and improving nutrition in all its forms. So this includes promoting nutritious food and increasing access to healthy diets. For the first team in the better nutrition category, we have a project titled Potential of Maize Legumes Mixtures, a Source of Food for Smallholders in 4 agroecological zones of Lesotho. You will now see team number 3 members on our screens, and let's watch their pitch.
Good afternoon. I'm Tumsamlata from Lesotho. Traditional subsistence farmers in Lesotho opted for conservation agriculture so as to improve their productivity. But since mid-70s, there's been a decline in production of maize and legumes from 1,400 kg per hectare to a current range of 450 to 500 kg per hectare. Despite that, agriculture still remains the primary source of number of households in Lesotho. But the production is affected by a lot of challenges. Number one, you have farmers are struggling to adapt to climate change, poor agricultural extension and education, inadequate supply of agricultural inputs, solutions. The practice of conservation agriculture will help to overcome climate change challenges. The provision of adequate education, whereby farmers may be educated about the role of intercropping or mixed cropping, where there will be a reduction in spread of diseases or pests within the crops or crop to minimize the effects of crop failure. The other one is about the reducing of the cost farmers' inputs to farmers. This is through subsidizing, at least when there is some subsidies, people will be able to get or afford to get some equipment they need to produce in large scale instead of small scale. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much for your pitch. Dr. Morris, do you have some follow-up questions?
Thank you very much for that presentation and for really helping us to understand what looks like a quite critical situation in your country as yields decline. So I have two questions which I'd like to hear a little bit from you. The first, since your solution is based on intercropping, can you tell us a little bit about what the experience with intercropping in Lesotho over recent decades has been? Is this something that farmers are already very familiar with, or will this be a novel method of production for them? And the second is, could you tell us, since this is in the nutrition category, could you tell us a little bit about what you think might be the nutrition impacts if this strategy was implemented? How might this benefit nutritional outcomes?
Okay, thank you. The first question, well, farmers in Lesotho, somehow they lack information about the importance of intercropping. So I think it's going to be something new to some. So introducing this to some rural farmers, I think we will help them to boost their production. And the second question about the nutrition, since here we're going to intercrop different plant species like the cereals and the legumes. The legumes, they provide some nutrients which are not there in the cereals. Like from legumes, we know that we get something like proteins, whereas from the cereals, we get something like the carbohydrates and stuff. So I think it will help to boost the nutritive needs of the community within the country. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Might we have yes, Dr. Nafin has an additional question.
Thank you. You spoke of climate change as a challenge in that region. So you're proposing intercropping. So I would like to know if you thought of how implementable is this solution, looking at beyond, the goal of improving nutrition. I mean, water availability, for example, access to inputs, all this stuff. Did you look at these challenges?
May you please repeat the question?
Yeah, I mean, you're proposing intercropping, to improve nutrition. So I was thinking, did you think of the challenges to implement this solution in your local settings?
The challenges.
Yeah. In implementing such solutions. Yeah.
No, not exactly. The challenges. I think implementing this will help to overcome some challenges that may be brought by climate change. If I get a question.
Thank you. I leave it to you to think of it also, maybe. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for your presentation and for the questions. So we'll move on to the second team under Better Nutrition category. And their project is titled Zero to Hero, Zero Food Waste and Loss Through Empowering Mothers Champions as the Heroes. And now let's watch their pitch.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Deviana. On behalf of my team, I would like to present our research proposal, Zero to Hero, Zero Food Waste and Loss Through Empowering Mothers Champion as the Hero. Indonesia is famous with its natural beauty. Special region of Yogyakarta that located in western side of Java Island, Indonesia is famous for its nature and culture. However, not many know that Yogyakarta is experiencing a waste emergency due to an overloaded landfill in May 2002. Of the total overflowing waste, it turned out that 60% is generated from the household food waste. Mothers have a vital role in regulating food at home so that mothers' behavior will affect the amount of food waste produced. Not only that, in Indonesia, the role of female voluntary health worker, or we call as cadres, play an important role in maternal decision making. Therefore, we at Mama for Planet, funded by alumni tie small grant from the U.S. Department of State, initiated a food waste reduction program by empowering mothers as an agent of change. Our activities include partnership, training for trainers, education, and gamification that support behavioral changes at the community level. This ongoing project aims to reduce food waste and loss by 10%, and in 2 years, Mama Port Planet plans to scale up to reach all villages in Sleman Regency. To scale up, we do hope not only a number of food waste and loss that decreasing, but also in line with decreasing number of greenhouse gas emission and having adequate food security and diversity status through Zero to Hero study. We will use the household food insecurity access to measure the food access, and we will use a household dietary diversity score to assess the food diversity. Moreover, we will be assess the household usual intake and its contribution to the greenhouse gas emission. In addition to the scaling up project, we want to improve the project implementation by gathering valuable information and input through a qualitative method using focus group discussion and in-depth interview, which aim to explore factors contributing to mothers' motivation to become cadre on reducing food waste and loss, also perceived benefit, barriers, and also best practices for sustainable cadre program on food waste and loss issue in the local area. This program will support to achieve zero hunger, responsible consumption and production, and climate action to prevent the worsening of climate change and improve economic value, better nutrition, better life, better production, and better environment.
And we believe that empowering mothers is the key to achieve intergenerational impact for healthier human and for our planet.
Thank you for that presentation. I'll now pass it to Dr. Morris for a question.
Thank you very much for that presentation. I really like the emphasis on empowering and the selection of some research methods which would really explore with these households who are affected by the emergency what the challenges are as they understand them. So on that note, my first question would be, can you tell us something about the specific occasions during the day that families are actually generating food waste? So what do we actually know about when they are wasting food, and what is it that's causing that in their lives? And the second question is about your target. You told us that you have a 10% reduction in food waste as your target, but your title is Zero Food Loss and Waste. So I'm wondering how you selected the 10% target, and I'm asking you, is it enough? Maybe you could be a little more ambitious.
Thank you for the question. So actually, Mama for Planet already established the partnership and developed the training syllabus and module on food waste issue for the mothers. And in order to scale up, we expect to the data to support the scale up information. That's why the Zero to Hero study is important. And then, as we know that the food waste mostly generated after the food production. I mean, like mothers can be decreasing the food waste and loss, the number of food waste and loss from the beginning. I mean that the beginning is like from how they buy the food from the market. They have to be a mindful thing to buy which one they have to buy to produce the food in the household. And then they also have to have a mindful food production when they try to cook the food for their family members, something like that. And then in order to the decreasing of the food waste and loss, the Mama for Planet have a baseline assessment. Actually, the baseline assessment is the prior for the educational training. So before we deliver the education from the mothers, we assess the food waste and loss in the household. And then after that, in the end of the training, in the end of the the training is like from after the gamification, after the training for trainers, we also assess the food waste and loss from the household, something like that. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Dr. Torero, over to you.
Yes, I have a comment and a question. The comment is you are not talking about losses, you are only talking about waste. So let's be very clear, because FAO is very serious on the definition. So, because losses is production side, it's production until wholesale. Retail to consumer is waste. So all your presentation was about waste, which was great. So let's have the terminology clear, because if not, people could get confused. The second thing is that what are the analytics behind? So you are saying that you are training people, but I hope you did analytics behind on trying to see where the major waste components were in the process of the family cooking and so on, because then you can target the most cost-effective and effective measures for them to reduce. So if you can elaborate on that great work that you did and how the analytics were done. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So I would like to explain what we try to deliver the education to the mother. So we have several various team of module. For example, we have in the first session we have the awareness of the food waste. We want to increase the awareness of food waste in the first meeting with the mothers, and then after that we have the training with the mothers, and then the hands-on experience how we decreasing the food waste after they produce the food in their household. We have like a hands-on experience on how to we utilize the food waste that already in the household, something like that. And after that, we also have a hands-on experience on utilizing a food waste. For example, using a composting, and then we also have learning how to utilize a food waste become a food pellet for the animal in the household, something like that. We will give the machine to the household, and then we will train the mother how to use the machine, and then after they have a food waste, they can utilize the food waste itself to become a food pellet for the animal that that they have in the household, something like that.
Thank you. One more question for you from Dr. El-Wafi.
So thank you very much. I like very much the power of mamas to really solve the problem. And as you were going to the origin and to the mommies really to bring up that awareness and be part of the solution, have you thought to look at your local knowledge, maybe looking at the old ways that you used to use and how you can save again and reduce waste? Because if I remember my childhood, we didn't have almost zero waste, sincerely, particularly from food. So let me know from you, have you thought about it? Would you want to dive into it and get some local knowledge back to save us and to reduce waste?
Okay, thank you for the question. So actually, after the training for trainers, we will be delivers the education to the others mothers that already not involving in the education. So the trained cadre will be delivered the education to the mothers through there is a program in the local area called the health program. We call it Posyandu in Indonesia. It's like we assess the health status of the infant, and then we want to deliver the education through that program. So we do hope that using that program, we will also deliver how the food waste is increasing the awareness through that program, something like that. We hope that all the mother that not involving in the education, the training education from us, they can also have the awareness of the food waste, and then so that not only the mother that we deliver the education, but also the mother that coming to the local program, that the Posyandu program can also give the education, something like that.
Thank you very much, team member 4 and jury, for your excellent questions. I think we're running a bit late, so I have to accelerate it now. And it is time for our first break, actually. So I want to take a moment to thank all of the 4 teams who just presented for your captivating pitches and the insightful questions that were asked by our jury. I can't believe we're already halfway, and I think this is the time for us to move on to a very special moment of today's session. So for that, I will ask the jury to go and start with their deliberations. I know you have a special room for that, and we will now move to the moment where we announce the very first award of today. So for that, I know we have
Peste de petit ruminant, PPR for short, is a menacing disease for pastoralists. It's often referred to as a goat plague because it's a highly contagious virus affecting small ruminants like sheep and goats.
And now let me give the floor to Felix Njeumi, PPR GP Secretariat Coordinator at FAO, to tell us about the PPR Special Prize. Over to you.
Dear applicant of the Transformative Research and Challenge PPR Special Prize, it gives me an honor today to thank all of you for what you did, what you prepare as research to move the eradication of peste de petit ruminant ahead. The call for application for the PPR Special Prize was launched on August 2022, and it was closed on 9 September. A total of 83 applicants were received, of which 10 were rejected for several reasons because they were late submission and so on. 9 were removed because they were above 35 years. 32 were kept and selected. And then we tried to organize 2 teams. The first review team reviewed the 32 applicants, of which 15 were coming from Eastern Africa, 10 from South Asia, 3 from Central Africa, 2 from West Africa, 1 for Southeast Asia, and 1 from East Asia. Of the 32 applicants, we review again, the first committee met, and we review, and we give it to the second committee, and 12 applicants were the winner. I will now go with the list of the 12 winners, of which we have 10 individual and 2 teams. The first winner is Mr. Bantuzeko from Congo. The second one is Joseph Kamweziga from Uganda. The third one is Mrs. Sadia Suleiman from Sudan. The fourth one is Mr. Asra Ake from Ethiopia. The fifth is Mr. Abdul Kabir from Pakistan. Sixth is Mrs. Kembo Mevey from Cameroon. 7, Mr. Rafael Chimbwe from Kenya. 9, Mrs. Jizan from Bangladesh. 9, Mrs. Saran Kamara from Guinea. 10, Mr. Lencho Megetsa from Ethiopia. Then the two teams who won the prize are the team for Dr. Rong Cheng from China. Then the last team is the one from Negele Paya from Ethiopia. As the next step, the 12th winner will be called for a meeting in November in 1 month's time. And then they will be called to attend the Global Research and Expertise Network in Montpellier from 7 to 9 December 2022, where they will be meeting virtually and in presence almost 250 experts working on PPR around the world. The Global Research and Expertise Network have almost 4 thematic groups. The first one is on atypical species. The second one on socioeconomic impact of the disease. The third one on wildlife, the impact of wildlife on biodiversity. The fourth thematic group is on vaccination, surveillance, and so on. And then they will be the one who will be mentoring, as well as their supervisor, this 12th winner. And I want really, when I am closing, to thank the European Union who support this, our project, the PPR program. And special thank to Falson Laura, who has been able to do all this and select all these 12 winners. I would like also to thank all our colleagues from the PPR Secretariat, Simon, Anna Maria, Viola, Satya, Hassan, as well as Camila. All of you, thank you for all your support, and also Paula, thank you, and the floor is back to you.
Thank you very much, Felix, for this presentation. I know we have been in so many meetings together planning this moment, and it is so exciting to see that we finally have 12 winners. Originally, we were going to have 10, right? What happened there?
What happened is that when we start screening, we discovered that there were no gender balance. And when we are talking about small ruminant, it's gender. We have to insert gender. We also thought that we need really the geographical balance. Therefore, we thought that they were really need to bring order about all the region. Because as you can see, many were coming from Africa, but more than 60% of the small ruminant population are in Middle East and Asia. We cannot forget Asia. This is the two reasons why we were forced to expand from 10 to 12.
Okay, thank you so much for this explanation. I have another question now that we wait for the judges. Why are they meeting in Montpellier in December?
Because every year we gather all the experts around the world to review the status of the research on the eradication of the program. This year, and we try to move from region to region. This year it will be in Montpellier, and next year it will be in Qingdao in China. We move every 2 years, at least bringing researchers around the table to discuss new innovation. How are we able to innovate to make sure that we lead the globe toward the eradication of PPR by 2030? That, by the way, if we manage to do it, will be the second time in our history that an animal disease has been eradicated, the first one being rinderpest in 2011, here in Rome, in the plenary.
Thank you so much, Felix. And Laura, I know you made an incredible effort. Thank you to all of the winners. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And now I invite the jury to please come here back to the stage. Just remember, all of you watching online, that this is a live show. This is why we get all of these movements here on stage. So now, while we wait for the jury to sit down, I am going to start talking about the next category that we will present, which is actually the Better Environment category. This category focuses on protecting, restoring, promoting the sustainable use of ecosystems, while also combating climate change through more efficient, more inclusive, resilient, and sustainable agri-food systems. As you can see here on your screen, we have team number 5, and they brought an exciting project called Using Data-Driven Agricultural Investigations to develop a socio-spatial approach for crop farming expansions through the ownership of vacant agricultural lands. You should now see the team on the screen and their mentor, and now we're going to watch the pitch.
Greetings to everyone and welcome. I am Marcelo Minka, the team leader, and the other member of the team is Mrs. Mireille Biaro. The title of our research proposal is Using Data-Driven Agricultural Investigations to Develop a Socio-Spatial Approach for Crop Farming Expansion through the ownership of vacant lands in Rwanda. This research output tries to solve two main problems which we have observed in Rwanda. The first problem is the unavailability of agricultural materials that have been faced or that manufacturing firms face in Rwanda. These agricultural materials are soya beans, coffee, rice, and cocoa. The second problem which our research output tries to solve is the inaccess to agricultural lands by young farmers, by the youth in Rwanda. This inaccess to agricultural lands is a major problem faced by youths in Rwanda, and this deprives them from practicing agriculture, and this hinders the transformation of the agri-food system in Rwanda. In order to solve these two main problems, our research output has focused on the development of an innovative solution which consists in the implementation of a socio-spatial approach for crop farming expansion through the ownership of vacant agricultural lands in Rwanda. This innovative solution is being declined in two strategies. The first strategy of our innovative solution is the implementation of similar socio-agricultural behaviors among farmers through data-driven investigations. These socio-agricultural behaviors will be used to encourage farmers to expand their crop farming activities by acquiring new farmlands. You can see below in the chart a graph illustrating coffee production in Rwanda. Then the second strategy of this innovative solution is the implementation of a good farming system among farmers that have the same crop production habits in order for them to produce more quantities of food crops that will help to reduce hunger in Rwanda. In the chart below, in the data below, you can see the evolution of crop production in Rwanda from 1997 to 2017. So this innovative approach, this innovative solution that we have developed, which consists in the implementation of a socio-spatial approach, is being declined in the two strategies that we have just explained to you now. Thank you very much for your attention.
Congratulations, team number 5. And now I want to give the floor to our judge for the Better Environment category, Dr. Eluafi.
Thank you very much for your presentation, and thank you really to applying for the RTC. So as you know, in our FAO strategic framework for the next decade, 22 to 31, we seek to support the 2030 agenda through the transformation of our agri-food system towards more efficiency, inclusive, resilient, and sustainability. And I think you are aware that really within that, it's very important, the protection of ecosystem. So my question to you is, the following. How do you incorporate these ideas of protection in your initiative? So how does this will make us really protect better the ecosystems?
Okay, thank you for giving me the floor. The main strategy or the main idea that we can use to protect the ecosystem is by rendering land more accessible to youth. Especially in Rwanda, it's important to know that in Rwanda, 76% of the population is being engaged in agricultural activities, and 52% of the total kilometer square land is constituted the arable land of Rwanda. But only 85% or only 14%, I mean, of these 76 people engaged in agriculture are youths. And most of the food that's been transformed in Rwanda comes from smallholder farmers, which are majority agriculturalists. So we try to expand these smallholder farmers to acquire more lands for them to become greater cultivators or bigger cultivators in order to protect the ecosystem. Because if we prone or we promote group cultivation and group farming systems, we think the environment will be better protected.
Thank you very much.
The quick question is that in terms of yield, I know you started from very low. I saw 200 quintal per hectare, and then it went up to 1.4. So what's the target? So what's your target in terms of increasing yield in the communities where you work?
Our target is to reach, because actually now in Rwanda, I can say the average land owned by farmers is 0.72 hectares. So our target is to reach per farmer at least 3 hectares or to 4 hectares in order to cover at least even like 70% of the total kilometer square of Rwanda.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions, maybe Nafan?
Actually, I would like to ask a question around the meaning of same crop production habits. I would like to get an idea, what do you mean by this? Or what kind of information you're collecting to categorize the farmers? And the second question around your proposal of expansion. And because I'm coming from a water background, so I always think of the limits, you know, how we can improve food security while we stay within the limits of available water. So what kind of, you know, thinking you've done around this if you are calling for expansion? I'm not aware of Rwanda circumstances, so maybe you can give us better idea around this.
Okay, thank you for your question. Concerning the first question on farming, or what are the habits that we are considering in order to grow farmers? The first habit is cultivation habit. That is the time taken for cultivation, or the periods of cultivations. In some groups, like in Ruangari, in the North Province of Rwanda, farmers tend to cultivate early, to get up very early to do their cultivations. Meanwhile, in the western area of the countries, farmers do it later in the evening. So we group them according to the periods, can I say the seasons or the time they cultivate in the day. Then concerning your question concerning security, if I heard it very well, and in order to render crop farm, the expansion secure for everyone, we would like to note that the government since the year 2018 has adopted what they call Rwanda strategic expansion, agricultural farming and transformation, which includes the implication of each.
I think we're having some connectivity issues, so perhaps we can move on to the next speech. We listened to half of his answer. I hope that is acceptable, Dr. Nafan.
So association or group of farmers or associations or organizations, groups.
Okay, thank you very much. Apologies for that, and thank you for your very insightful answers, team number 5. Let's move now to team number 6, who is also in the Better Environment category. They submitted a project with a beautiful title, Past Seeds for Resilient Food Futures. Let's now watch the pitch of team number 6.
Greetings, educators. Greetings, World Food Forum, and greetings, World. In a 2021 scenarios report by the International Panel of Experts on Sustainable Food Systems, it is stated that our current food systems trajectory will generate rampant inequalities, deepen livelihood stresses, and food insecurity when they should be doing the contrary. Just sustainable socio-ecological orientations for our food systems like agroecology are now more important than ever. Rural communities across Africa historically possessed food philosophies, food traditions, food cultures, practices, and knowledges with which they successfully negotiated a balance between feeding society and protecting the environment. We call these seeds. These seeds are not well documented, fragmented, left in the past, yet we cannot ignore their potential value to the positive reorientation that our food systems need to be more resilient. We propose to ethnographically research the barriers to the documentation, promotion, and application of these seeds while analyzing their potential to realize more sustainable and resilient food systems in Zimbabwe. We will actively document and analyze past seeds applied to improved production, nutrition, food preservation, food as medicine, and food in environmental protection. We plan 2 outputs from our research: a peer-reviewed article and a research project proposal for further grant funding, to develop and execute a seeds documentation, repository, and dissemination system replicable across Africa. At present, there is no such existing repository that smallholder farmers can easily access and actively contribute to. When they pass on, many of these seeds are lost. Help us revive and immortalize these seeds and together discover how closer they can get us to our shared goal of a just, sustainable, and resilient zero hunger. Thank you.
Thank you very much, team number 6. I love your conclusion. Over to Dr. Eluafi.
Thank you very much for this exciting project. And I'm really happy to see young men looking at the past and looking at the seeds that we are, as you said, really losing on decade-based. Almost every decade we have many species that are extinct. So how much did you collaborate with the local system or the other organization that have already a seed bank? Did you do your research? You looked what exists? Did you find out which species maybe are already represented in the national seed bank or maybe regional seed bank, and you identify the area that you want to focus on, or you are starting on your own, your way, without looking at what the national system is doing?
Okay, thank you for the question. I feel there is a bit of a part that is somehow lost in translation when you mention seeds. You're not mentioning seeds as like the literal seeds, but certain practices, philosophies, cultures, traditions, including, for example, indigenous knowledge system. And I hope that is clear from the beginning, so to speak. So as far as that is concerned, I would say that we have yet to find institutions that have historically, have kind of like mapped these seeds that you're talking about. I'll give an example. If you look around my neck, I'm wearing this small necklace, which is black and white dots. That represents a zebra. And that is basically what we call a totem in our own culture. And that totem in itself is actually a seed, in a sense, in terms of the philosophy around it. By us identifying with the zebra as an animal that is a totem for our family, it means that we're actually custodians responsible for the protection of that animal in the environment and also protection of the environment in which it lives. This is very, very philosophical, and it is shared across many different African countries and African cultures. And now if you think about it, it's not in practice anymore. And then the idea then is to kind of look at them and kind of put them in a repository, in a place where they are accessible, so that we remember the past that we are actually losing, and in remembering it and having a system where every smallholder farmer is able to kind of contribute to that with their own knowledge, and it is open to access for many others, then we have potential to then see how then that can actually contribute to the protection of our environment.
Thank you for that. So Dr. Torero has an additional question for you.
Yes, thank you so much. Interesting, this philosophical approach, but I have a question to you in more the pragmatic side. So how you choose what is good and what is bad? What is the metric you're using to identify what is really environmental, positive, and sustainable, and what is not?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. So let me begin by saying that before science was science, it was previously local knowledge, in essence. And from that starting point, I suppose it's a matter of also seeing other communities of practice where something is implemented. And then we have a track of good results coming from different places, vouching for it as necessary or as valuable. To the extent that one of the interesting things that you find is you have got many practices that if you try to look at them, they are a local science, but if they are then taken into a laboratory, they become even the scientific knowledge that then becomes generalized and goes into the world. So from that perspective, it's a matter of validation from community to community, and also validating with other existing science that are already there on that specific seat, so to speak. I hope I've answered the question.
But the problem, and sorry if I can, but the problem is that not necessarily the target of that community is the target that you have in mind. So they can validate things which, for example, helps them to be more nutritious and to have more food available, but that doesn't mean that it's environmental sustainable. So how you align to the criteria that you're using, because you have a very clear logic, you're looking for environmental sustainable things.
Yes.
So how you validate that?
So I suppose it's a matter of creating a framework that is more defined from here to say what then qualifies a seed that is valid in terms of like its value in the future of our food systems. It's interesting if, for example, if I were to then take this on the broader with other existing systems, you have got, for example, if you look at agroecology, the 10 elements of agroecology, a lot of these speak to that in a sense. And I think that is a very good measure upon which you can actually base, because some of these seeds, they fit very well with already existing systems such as agroecology, if I may take that as an element. One of the elements of which within the domain of agroecology, I would put an advocate for, say, culture and food traditions, and also maybe on the aspect of resilience, in a sense.
Thank you. One more question from Dr. Morris.
Thank you. I was interested in what you said about trying to understand the barriers to the consumption of these food. And so we know that it's very complex what drives people's choices of what they want to produce and to consume as a household. So I wonder if you have an initial list in your head of categories of things you want to look at as possible drivers of these decisions.
Yeah, so we've been contextualizing this, and as far as the barriers are concerned, I think one of them is to do with how technology is fast moving, for example, and also on the other hand, how other production systems are also improving in a sense. And from that perspective, I think, for example, proximity to technology is one factor that cannot be ignored. And there are many other factors that kind of lead to these barriers in a sense. But also, despite these barriers, I think one of the barriers is the knowledge itself. How much do people know about it? So I think that for us is what we feel is the starting point. Do they know about it? And if they so know, then what's the next step? Is it something that they can adopt, so to speak?
Great. So thank you for that pitch and the Q&A session. We will now move to the last category, A Better Life, which focuses on the promotion of inclusive economic growth by reducing inequalities such as those between urban and rural areas, rich and poor countries, and men and women. The first team in this category, team number 7, submitted a project titled Olive Tea, the Mediterranean Matcha, assessing the sustainability of traditional Mediterranean medicine. I'm very excited for this next one because the team is here with us in person. Let's welcome team number 7 to our stage.
Hello. Okay, it works. It's very loud. Okay, should I start? Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Sofia Cavalleri, and today I will be presenting a solution that is in line with what we've been talking about here at the World Food Forum. So, in particular, how to make sustainable agriculture more young and more trendy as well. So, I will be talking about sustainable olive tea. So, olive tea has been part of the traditional Mediterranean medicine and diet for centuries, from ancient Egyptian to Greek and Roman times. As you can see, there is evidence in the literature that olive leaves have the same or more health benefits than green tea and matcha. But if you look closely at this Google Trends analysis from 2004 until nowadays, there has been an increased interest in matcha that you can see at the top, and olive tea has remained the same. This gap represents an opportunity. It is an opportunity to invest in a scalable rural livelihood diversification strategy. And this strategy appeals in particular for agripreneurs and young agripreneurs, in particular in the Mediterranean basin. In order to diversify their livelihoods with a solution that could imply a circular economy and circular economic model. To sell the byproducts of their olive tea production as a different product, as olive tea. This also has broader implications in terms of achieving several sustainable development goals, and also in terms of the globally important agricultural heritage systems of FAO, in terms of restoring those traditional landscapes. So this research proposal aims to deliver 3 research objectives. 2 are related to a scoping review of the health benefits of olive tea and of the better techniques to maintain those dietary components of olive leaves. And the third objective is understanding the stakeholders that are involved in the local food system concerning this sustainable olive tea production. So finally, this has broader implications as a project because me and my team were focusing on a solution that is in line with the 4 betters of this year's World Food Forum. It has socioeconomic, environmental, and health benefits, and it aims to be an applied, collaborative, multi-stakeholder research. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your pitch. And now I'll pass it to Professor Parfait for some questions.
Yeah, thank you. I'm pleased to have you here in person, and I think there's a value added to having presenters here being in person, and I don't regret spending all the money I spent to have you here. All right. I have 3 remarks. The moderator talked a little bit earlier about beautiful titles, and I think there's one potential beautiful title behind your presentation, which is really about not leave the olives leaves, right? And there's an interesting alliteration here, but behind the alliteration, there's the interesting question of food waste that we were talking about before, which I think is fundamentally important, how to use all the parts of the olive tree and not leave some left sort of unused. I think there's a part of the proposal that should actually be emphasized a little bit more. The other question that I have is really about what I see as a slight disconnect or redundancy between the motivation of your work, which is assess the benefit of the leaves, but at the same time, you have a long list of benefits already. And so what it is that you're going to add? Is it to establish the credibility of the claims of these benefits, or is it to add other benefits to the list? And finally, thinking about the macro picture, the benefits of your proposal here, beyond the diversification that you talked about, is there anything in terms of income generation among people in the target community? Is it about retaining young farmers in the field, et cetera, et cetera? These aspects, I think, should be developed a little bit more, and I'd like to hear your answers to these questions.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that you raised it up, because actually this research was co-developed. It's a PAR, so it's participatory action research. It was advanced in collaboration with partners on the ground that are agritourism businesses and farmers in Chianti in Tuscany, Italy. But they are also in touch with other farmers in Greece, and they've been talking about this potential to use their olive leaves that are just being used as compost right now to make additional income. And so in order to do that, it would be interesting to have more data in terms of what is the technique that retains the most nutrients when you make olive tea. Is it infusion? Is it the Japanese method of rolling and steaming the tea leaves? And these farmers asked me, and I didn't have the knowledge. I tried to find online, but I couldn't. So that's when we did 2 + 2, and we understood, okay, this could actually have a potential to be a scalable solution as well, because many farmers are in the same situation, and it would really help them. It would give this kind of information directly to them, and it's not difficult to assimilate. It's not academic knowledge that is hard to understand. It would really give them direct benefit in terms of income diversification.
Thank you. Dr. El-Wafi?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for being with us in person. She's from Italy, so that makes it easier. Yeah. So my question is, my mom, it's one of those people that drinks a lot of olive tea, by the way. Wow. And it's mostly to reduce her glycemic level, because it's known to reduce somehow. But whenever I try it, it's so amargous, it's so bitter. So are you working as well at looking at different species of trees and what are the different tastes, and also maybe the age as well? So at what stage you have to pick up the leaves, and then the methodologies, as you said, are very important.
Yes, of course. And actually, that's why I connected with multiple partners that would be interested, because some of them are in Chianti, as I told you, but some of them are more nearby the sea. So they also want to know if their olive tree variety is different, brings to a different kind of product, and also which product is more appealing to the public. Because of course we can see that matcha has been very trendy, but what about olive tea? We don't have enough research in terms of marketing strategies around it. So that would be a research gap worth exploring. Of course, it would need more funding into it as well. So we're just starting with a potential idea, and then it could be more research could be built in and integrated at a later stage.
Great. One more question from Dr. Torre.
Only one small question. So they produce tyrosol, up to what I understand. You can get tyrosol from olive tree, which is an antioxidant, which is good for health. But they lower the blood pressure, and that creates a problem for the people who have lower blood pressure. So what you can do technologically to minimize those risks so that this can become like a very consumed product?
Okay, so there are, from what I know, there are different types of research on the olive byproducts that integrate only the leaves or also all the byproducts, so also the stems and the part inside the seed, the olive seed. So those things have different components. That's not my specialty, to be completely honest. But I know about the effects for the immune system that gets strengthened. It is anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. And then, of course, there are some of those components that I would need to do more research on, but they affect a part of the population, not the entire population.
Great. Thank you so much, Sofia.
Okay, grazie.
So we'll now move to team number 8, who have an innovative project entitled Transforming Nutritional Practices and Livelihoods Through Improved Fish Farming in Pakistan. You will now see team number 8's members and mentor on screen, and let us watch their pitch.
Meet Bilal,
a fish farmer living in the Sindh province of Pakistan, where nearly 80% of the groundwater is saline. Despite his hard work ethic, the reality of living in poverty, coupled with poor fish farming practices, means that he's barely scraping by to support his family. To top it off, the family struggles to eat a well-balanced diet and suffers from malnutrition.
Bilal's story is the story of hundreds of fish farmers across Pakistan. Even though saline aquacultures offer an alternative income source in Pakistan, while also tackling the 66% protein deficiency in the country, it still lacks resources, knowledge, technology, gender inclusion, and buy-in from stakeholders to fully flourish.
Fish farmers across the country are also facing the devastating effects of climate change. Where their fish ponds were dried up in June, only 2 months later have they been flooded and destroyed.
How can we catalyze the saline aquaculture sector to equip farmers with the right knowledge, skills, and tools to enable them to uplift their families and communities from malnutrition and ultimately poverty? We propose a holistic research intervention which includes developing a circular economy system for better environment, introducing improved fish species for better production, improving farmers' technical capacity for improved income and a better life, and lastly, implementing behavior change nutritional counseling to improve the uptake of healthier diets for better nutrition.
Our approach is simple. Synthesize best practices from around the world to design local solutions, keeping farming families always at the center and working with relevant stakeholders. If successfully implemented, Bilal can one day earn a respectable income, improve his family's health, and be able to adapt to Pakistan's changing climate landscape. The time for transformative solutions is now.
Thank you, team number 8, for your pitch. I'll now pass it to Professor Parfait.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really excited to hear about this project, and I have many questions. It doesn't prevent me from having questions. It's exciting. It's, in a sense, what I would be personally looking for, turning tragedy into triumph, taking land that would be otherwise unusable and using saline aquaculture to both solve the problem of land and water at the same time as solve nutrition and protein deficiency. I would sort of go over questions about whether the specific salt-resistant breeds of fish are already known, but I would have a couple of questions. One is, are we just adapting or accepting the fact that salinization is going to continue because they have this fish, or do we still maintain system to desalinize the water, or do the fish production help us in desalinizing the water as well? So that's the first question. The second question is, beyond your 200 and 400 farmers, do you have a system in place to extend to a larger population first? And do you have concern that if this is such a good deal, if it's productive, if it's economically effective, do small farmers like Bilal are going to be displaced by larger farmers that are going to step in and take advantage of this opportunity?
Thank you for the question. So the first question relating to the displacement of the small farmers, there are still small farmers that are doing this in Sindh, but they're doing it at a very small scale because they don't have the financial capacity or the tools available to expand. There are fresh water fish farming going on, which does not, who are not a competitor of these fish farmers. So we don't see them as a competitor to the freshwater farming. So we believe that the 40,000 acres that are being affected by secondary salination, this could be a solution to the problem that they're facing. So that is not an issue. Regarding your question of identification of the salt-resilient species, there are a few that have been identified. And in the Punjab province, a private concern is experimenting with them. They're using expertise from Thailand who are coming in, but that is a private concern and at a very limited scale. We need to expand that to a larger scale so that we can have the impact at scale. I forgot one of the question that was in the middle.
Did you get your answer? Perfect, Professor. Perfect. Thank you very much, team number 8, for your pitch and this very interesting Q&A. I am very glad we have a team from Pakistan. As you know, this country has been terribly hit by monsoon floodings, and I hope your family and your dears are safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I now want to move to the very last category, which is a very special category. It is the theme of this year's World Food Forum, healthy diets and a healthy planet. And it is all about finding research projects with the most promising potential to transform our agri-food systems in order to increase access to healthy diets while addressing the climate change challenges that we're facing today. So now you can see team number 9 on the screen, and without further ado, I'm going to invite us to watch their pitch.
Hello everyone, I'm called Bukire Pacific and I'm going to present a project about transitioning maize value chain toward a circular food system for health food and a health planet. Did you know that the current linear agri-food system contributes 14% on global greenhouse gases and 40% on global food waste? Particularly in Rwanda, linear agri-food system contributes 45.6% on greenhouse gases and 40% on food waste. But maize value chain only contributes 25% on food waste, and 15.6 ppb aflatoxin level is found in maize. That level of aflatoxin can cause health problems to consumers and damage maize quality. Moreover, maize environmental cost is still unclear, though it is the main staple crop in Rwanda. Therefore, to find out the maize environmental cost and improve quality and sustainability of maize, we propose circular food system and life cycle assessment as innovative solutions. To achieve the desired change, this project will specifically examine the current maize food system to reimagine circular food system for health food and a health planet. Thus, research activities will be conducted to evaluate maize carbon footprint, aflatoxin level, and identify critical points to improve the sustainability and quality of maize. Moreover, stakeholders will be trained and large-scale information dissemination will be conducted to increase awareness on new validated technologies and practices. Thank you so much for your attention, and we invite you to support the implementation of this project. Bye-bye.
Hi, how are you? Hi. So I have a comment and 2 questions. The comment is you are referring to food loss, not to food waste. Very important. It's very important because it's in the production side, okay? And the reason why it's important is because the causes and the reasons behind and the stakeholders that are involved in losses are different than the ones involved in waste. So that's why it's so important. The question is on aflatoxins. So you refer to aflatoxins and that the circular system will help you to resolve the problem of aflatoxins. I want to understand how, if you have any evidence that that is the case, because aflatoxin normally is because of humidity and the way you store, which will create, or is in the soil. So we need to find practices to minimize that. So it's not clear to me how the circular system will resolve that problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here. First of all, thank you for the clarifying food waste and food loss. I'm actually talking about food loss, though we use the terms similarly sometimes. So thank you for the question. This circular bioeconomy system will help us to reduce aflatoxin level because, as we know, aflatoxin can occur throughout the whole value chain. So if we integrate circular bioeconomy and life cycle assessment, we'll be able to track the whole value chain. Where is the critical point of aflatoxin? And the level of aflatoxin at each critical point. So we'll be able to come up with the circular bioeconomy measures to control the aflatoxin. Here, I have, with the research I did, I found like there is two organizations which come up with the biocontrol measures and product to reduce the aflatoxin. Here I can say like Syngenta and other organizations which come up with the Aflasep product. So I believe if we do a research throughout the whole value chain using the circular bioeconomy methodology, we will be able to come up with contextualized strategy, product, or practice to mitigate aflatoxin. Thank you.
Thank you very much, team number 9. And I know that we have the very last team now who is going to present their pitch. So I ask the production team to please show us the last team, as you will see on the screen, is all about providing cost-effective, quick, and portable pesticide residue tester in Tanzania low and middle-class tomato consumers and small-scale growers. So over to the last team for their pitch.
Hi everybody, my name is Shadrach Stephen and I'm here to present our innovative research proposal on developing, providing a low-cost, rapid and portable pesticide residue analyzer to Tanzania tomato consumers and small-scale growers. And our research proposal is actually based on the fact that tomato production in Tanzania accounts about 70% of all fruits and vegetables that are produced each year, but 31% of this produce perish due to pesticide infection. And although extension services provide farmers with counsel, information, other related supporting services, but ineffective pesticide application monitoring mechanism allows small-scale farmers to use pesticides extensively. As a result, the low and the middle income people in urban and rural areas consume such produce, and sometimes they are unaware of health-related risks, and small-scale farmers are unable to sell their produce to processing enterprises due to high-level pesticide residue that have been frequently reported by the enterprises. So the research project aims to develop that tool. We have named it as Stopper, and this will allow farmers and consumers to self-monitor pesticide level in tomato and determine whether they meet the maximum residual limit. In the long run, we hope that the tool will improve tomato production quality in Tanzania. It will also serve as a platform for the country regulatory agencies to use when enforcing the need to follow the rules. The use of the tool will also raise community knowledge of the application of pesticide residues. Farmers also will eventually comply with the criteria and sell tomato to processing enterprises, improving income generation, community health, and in the long run, it will also improve, it will contribute to environmental sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Some questions for you from Dr.
So thank you very much for a very nice presentation and a really nice idea. Now the question to you is, what is the tool you are using and if it is cost effective for smallholders?
Thank you very much for the very good question. What we are actually planning to do is to develop that tool, which will be based on, it will be an enzyme-based biosensor that will actually detect the organophosphate, pesticides with organophosphate, and also that tool, we actually thought of it in a manner that There are several tools that have been developed, but they are very expensive, and small scale holders and people in urban and rural areas cannot afford to buy it. And in many cases, testing these residues is done in laboratory. And in country like Tanzania, these laboratories are very few. So, and the monitoring regulatory authorities are unable to monitor the use of pesticides. So what we are planning with my team is to develop that tool. We have the team of experts from different organizations here in Tanzania, ranging from the TIRDO, the Tanzania Pesticide Research Institute, and the Tanzania Bureau of Standards. And we have actually communicated with them, and we have seen that it's feasible to develop that tool. Thank you.
Thank you for that. All right, so there we have it. 10 teams have presented their innovative ideas to transform our agri-food systems.
Yeah, it was really an exciting journey today and incredible ideas. It is now the time to give the jury panel a moment to deliberate. So I invite you to kindly, like before, go to the deliberation room. And we want to go ahead with a very special announcement. Remember at the beginning of the show, I talked to you about something that will completely change the innovation labs for the better. Well, today we will sign a very special agreement, or announce a very special agreement between the WFF and Wageningen University and Research. Together with the World Food Forum Innovation Labs team, we have worked so hard toward this moment for months. Really, I want to take a moment to thank all of the volunteers from the Innovation Labs, and especially Janina Peter, our new innovation lead, Charlene Wangi here with me, Hanina Busala, who was supposed to be here but she couldn't join us, she's in Jordan, Ed Bogart, Colin Sutuju, Nina Coates, and of course Kazuki, who were really working tirelessly to make this possible. Words cannot describe how excited we are for this agreement, because it would really boost inclusivity, and it has the objective to reach those innovators whose voices are normally not heard. Now it is my honor to pass the floor to Dr. Tsuake Haimuvara, the president of the executive board at Wageningen University and Research, as well as Katsuki Kitaoka, our coordinator and leader here at the World Food Forum. Over to you.
Well, thank you. And I'm so very excited to be here today and to see our partnership so beautifully visualized. Successful partnerships are built upon principles and values and a shared vision and shared goals, which we definitely have. And the partnership between the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations and Wageningen University and Research is characterized by a natural affinity of mutual interests and complementary strength. These characteristics have enabled the successful history of the partnership and paved the way forwards for the next years. Drawing on the complementary strength of Wageningen University and research scientific knowledge and technical know-how and FAO's mission and global reach, we are able to intensify this collaboration and make a greater global impact in achieving food security for all. This morning, Wageningen and FAO had a special event together, which was really excellent, and focusing on collaboration, communication, and harnessing science effectively. And I'm so excited to expand our existing collaboration with FAO and the World Food Forum, and especially to expand it towards the youth, which is, I think, the red thread we should all keep and foster. So, Kazuki, let us now look back on everything Wageningen and the World Food Forum have achieved together so far.
Yeah, absolutely, Xiaoxia. I couldn't agree more. It is really amazing what we have been doing together. This is a momentum that we have been building around youth innovation, around really new technologies, new ideas in research through the different activities that we have been doing together over many, many years. And I think we can really expand it now with this World Food Forum, starting with the wonderful session this morning. By the way, everybody who is watching and everybody in the room, you can watch it online. We have it already on the platform. You will also have it on YouTube. So if you missed it, watch it. So yeah, this is going to be, I think, a real opportunity for young people to get from the very start of research all the way to becoming a startup involved in agriculture and food issues. And we are really looking forward from the side of the World Food Forum and of course from FAO and the whole youth community that is around. We are looking forward to working with you and Wageningen University in the years to come on that.
And so do we. And especially looking at what we have seen here with the pitches, but also in Wageningen we have these challenges. And our collaboration aims to develop and share knowledge as well as harness science, technology and innovation for transforming food systems. And I think more than ever we need to build on what the youth is also developing and initiating. So based on these innovation alliances, we will strengthen our joint efforts on existing projects. For example, the Nature-Based Solutions Challenge of the Wageningen University. In this challenge, 8 teams from all over the world have worked on nature-based solutions to help overcome the challenges of climate change and biodiversity loss. The World Food Forum's Transformative Research Challenge, as you have all seen today, also have joint work on innovations, building on what the youth can bring us. And we can now jointly work on expanding these initiated works and really bring them forward together. So Kazuki, what are our teams planning exactly?
So exactly, thank you so much that you are asking. So exactly this next step, the step from research, the step from finding the solutions, the ingenuity of our researchers and supporting them through the different challenges that we already do. We want now to get this next step done into incubation and see how we can really support hand in hand these researchers, these startups in going the next step to make a real life difference in the world, where we want to see it as well, where the research should actually end up in one way or another. So we really hope that with this partnership going forward in that direction, we will really make an impactful and I think also lasting and long-term partnership with Wageningen and also your partners perhaps.
Yeah, definitely. Finding answers together, put to practice.
Absolutely.
That's
Thanks
great.
so much, Xiaoqi.
Okay, let's shake hands. Thank you.
Thanks. And I don't know, I'm handing over to the moderators, I suppose.
Thank you very much, Katsuki and Dr. Hamawara. It is an honor, and really we have been working super hard with your teams to get to this moment. Because as I said, we really want to make the TRC next year even more inclusive. So now, as we wait for the jury to finish deliberating, what I could ask is for the amazing production team to show us the video once again, because I know it was very fast, where we can see the whole scope of this new partnership that was built today. So I don't know if it is possible, but in the meantime, Charlene, why do you tell us about the process ever since we started working on the incubator?
Yes, so since
Thank you very much. You were saying, Charlene?
Yes, I was saying it's been a good journey since we started, thinking about how this will look like, the Innovation Alliance. So there's been different models. So we're glad to see the handshake today, and we just look forward to the coming days and where that will take us.
Exactly. I think as the World Food Forum Innovation Labs, when we started and we thought about this research competition, and then the other competition that will take place tomorrow, so it is for the Startup Awards, we realized that there is a gap. There is a gap between those researchers that you saw today pitching and the startups that we will see tomorrow. Because researchers many times are super talented into, doing the requests for funding, but sometimes they may lack some skills into pitching for funds live, or how to successfully create a business model. And this is something that we really need to find a way to strengthen in the future and create this bridge between the researchers from the TRC and the Startup Awards that you will see tomorrow.
Yes, and not forgetting the nature-based solutions that the university is also running. Yeah, so look forward to that.
Yeah, super excited about that. But as we wait for the judges to finalize their deliberation, maybe we can also talk a bit about what you can expect for tomorrow. So the XTC Startup Innovation Awards. Charlene, have you taken a look about the teams that we will present tomorrow?
Yes, so tomorrow, similarly, we have teams that will be presenting on the 4 betas. And yeah, some exciting presentations coming on board. So make sure to look out for that session, which will also be in the afternoon.
Exactly. Don't miss it. It will be very different. As I said, we're not going to have researchers. We're going to have startups that are a bit more mature. Maybe they have been to 1 or 2 rounds of funding. And this is going to be also a hybrid event. We're going to have the moderators and some of the judges here, as well as some of the teams joining remotely. But it was so exciting to see one of the finalists here in person. I think this was one of our dreams last year, to be able to bring them here in person and pitch. I hope we're going to be able to do that next year. Why not?
Yes, have more in-person presence, but at least we can see the transition from fully virtual last year to some in-person presence.
Exactly. So I think the jury, they have just mentioned that they need a bit more time. So I don't know if the production team can also show us once again the beautiful video about the journey of the TRC from the very beginning of this year until where we are now, because I know some of you may have joined a bit late. So it would be great for you to see all of the road that we have been able to walk with them until now. So, for example, only last week we were doing a bootcamp, a speaking bootcamp that was organized in partnership with Untold as well as Toastmasters. And we were telling these participants on how to improve their presenting skills. And they were giving some feedback by their coaches, speaking coaches, as well as their mentors.
are convinced that a sustainable future is only possible when young women are given meaningful and equitable access to opportunities in science and research.
Your participation would definitely pave the way for future generations to have food security.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
We at the Toastmaster, we are so happy to be joining hands with the organizer of the World Food Forum.
I think if you really want to make this a more powerful pitch, a PowerPoint presentation that's very basic with very little information could clarify things that maybe with accents were hard to understand.
And also, very, very important, you close your presentation with a call to action, which is perfect.
We need to have the best possible science, no matter the age, no matter the gender, no matter where you live and where you are. Ideas are always great.
I'm a bit biased, because I come from the classic, bachelor, master's, and internship, and then got the UN, and but I do believe we need to find a way to integrate all of those individuals in the agri-food systems that are not in that, cycle.
At the World Food Forum, we believe that innovations can come from anywhere and can come from anyone. From a university student applying to the Transformative Research Challenge, or to a farmer who wants to find a way to mitigate and end animal diseases in his sheep or goat herd.
So welcome back, everyone. Judges, I hope you had a good time deliberating. So now I will pass the floor to you to give us the outcome.
Okay, so thank you so much. It was great to be here as always and to look at all these innovative ideas. So we have a lot of discussions, we fight each other, we scream, but we come to a conclusion. So the third prize will be to the pesticide residual project of Tanzania. Why third? Because it's a great idea, but still a lot to do to get the innovation and to make it cost effective. So congratulations to you.
I'm giving it to you symbolically, of course. Then what happened next?
Okay, next is we couldn't rank 1 and 2, so we decided to give 2 ones, and we decided a tie, but there is one condition. So one of the ones is the Mama's Zero Loss and Waste, but we call it Mama Zero Waste, please, no Mama Zero Loss and Waste. And the other one is the olive tea, because we believe it's trying to recover something and trying to use it and bring science to it. So congratulations to both of them.
Wow, this is the first time we get two winners. Congratulations.
And finally, the one that responds to the topic of the conference, which is, or the World Food Forum this year, the Healthy Diets, Healthy Planet. We believe that the Pakistan project is the winner for that one because it's bringing aquaculture, it's trying to do innovation on the new varieties that needs to be there, and also eliminating salinization. So congratulations to the Pakistan team.
If you want to give it. Thank you. We're going to give it symbolically to the judges, and then we will be able to share it with the winners. Okay, so I think this has been a very exciting session. We want to take a moment to thank all of the judges and Nafan, so the special advisor of the judges today, for coming here, as well as Professor Xiuli for joining online. And I don't know, Charlene, is there any last words you want to say before we do the final wrap-up?
Maybe just to share what the winners will receive. So they'll receive a press release and web stories published on the FAO Academic Partnership website and a recognition campaign on all World Food Forum social media handles and World Food Forum website.
Exactly. And let's not forget that, as I said, they all received mentorship in a very special speaking bootcamp. But now, as we just saw the winners, I want to take a moment to really thank all of the expert reviewers and the mentors who did this pro bono in their personal time. I want to congratulate all of the teams for their efforts. And really, I think the big thank you is for all of the volunteers of the World Food Forum Innovation Labs. Without you, truly, this challenge wouldn't exist. Thank you very much, everyone.